What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode. Is it an episode?
I believe it is.
I guess it's an episode.
Yeah.
Welcome back to another episode of JSNB Talk. We're the podcast that puts the blank in the blank. I don't know. I didn't have anything ready for this week, so if you guys have
Oh,
anything
put the
fancy,
heat in me.
we put the eat in meat. I like it
Yeah,
because there ain't no pizza like an all meat pizza. Am I right?
that is correct. That is correct.
Kyle concur.
Why didn't you tell me that the screen was so best though?
Oh, I thought it looked fine.
I had my phone up and down. Purple. That
I,
better?
I thought it looked fine, Kyle.
It looks lovely.
There we go. We're better there.
Everybody looks
Okay.
lovely. So what's going on, gentlemen?
Well,
Huh?
I just got back. Last week, where was Baldo?
Where was
Uh,
Baldo?
That's right. Do you guys know where Baldo was, right?
Are we allowed to share where Baldo was?
I know
Yeah,
where Baldo was.
Baldo was in South Carolina, becoming the newest member of the Grandpa crowd. So,
The Grandpa crowd. Ooh, there we go. Yeah, so we have big news in the JSNB talk world. So the reason you haven't seen Nicky B here for a couple of weeks was that his wife Becca was due, and he was just making sure that he didn't kind of overcommit himself. And then last week, she gave birth to a little baby boy. Should we share the deets, or should we let him share the deets when he gets back?
it's.
Maybe we'll let him share the deets.
I would
Yeah,
let him.
Yeah, yeah.
that'll
So,
work.
that's gonna kill Grammy. I want to hear about the new baby. Well, you're gonna have to wait a couple weeks until Nicky B is ready to come back. Um, but Nicky
That's where
B,
actually
what's
That's
that?
actually where Baldo was last week. Was in the lobby of the Atrium Health Center in. Actually, it's interesting. I was in North Carolina, but they live in South Carolina, so
Yeah,
kind of
they are
different there.
literally that close.
Yep.
Um,
Pretty
He's
weird.
born in North Carolina and lives in South. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
yep.
So, but I mean, he's doing well. Pregnancy was good for Becca, and delivery.
I thought you were gonna say the pregnancy was really good for
Delivery was
Nick.
kind of crazy. She was in labor for about 34 hours, and
Ever.
pushed for an hour. So
And slid right out.
yep, with a little suction help. So when he came out, he was a cone head.
Some vacuum and a little vacuum and some butter.
Yeah.
No problem.
That's it. That's it. So, but they're doing good. They're doing
Yep.
very well.
Little man is
So,
here. Nicky B is rocking it, being a first time, new father. Becca's rocking it, being a new mom. They're just trying to figure out their rhythm and all that kind of stuff. So it might be a couple weeks till Nicky B comes back, but when he does come back, we'll let him fill you guys in on all the details, the name, the size, the length, all that kind of stuff. And
last name is obviously Brinson. So
Brinson, yep. Spoiler alert.
Boy Brinson.
Yep.
Kind of like Boy Wonder or whatever. But
There you go.
Boy Brinson.
So, well, sweet.
but,
Yeah, that's we could not tell everybody last week where Baldo was on assignment. But
Yes.
that's where he was. He's in the lobby of a hospital. So we appreciate the commitment.
Yes, I do what I can.
Excellent,
So
excellent. Kyle, you got anything going on? Anything happened this past week?
Friday, my stepdaughter, she turned 18 on the 16th of January and moved out.
Oh yeah.
That was tough.
wow.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
That's
besides that,
that's huge, man. So
that's very huge.
Kyle. I mean, she moved out at 18. Did she go to school or did she just move out?
She ended up going and moving to her dad's house.
Okay. So
So,
that she'll eventually be back. You know that.
that's what everybody keeps telling me.
you
She'll
better
be
not
back. She'll be back.
you better not make over that room too much. Too much.
She saw that today. So Kyler called her because we had Chipotle for dinner, and I think it's what carne asada or whatever. She's had it before, and Kyler's like, "Oh, I don't know if I like it." So he called her, "Sis, do you think I like it?" And I was like, "Hey, video call." So we couldn't, whatever. I video messaged her on Facebook and walked into the room, and she went.
Hmm.
I was like, "It's just primer right now." I said, "But it'll eventually, it's gonna stay white." She's like, "You painted already?"
Hmm.
Yeah. It was like,
Yep.
what was it? Aqua. It was like aqua, I guess. Aqua and purple.
Wow.
Ooh,
Wow.
yeah.
Old Atlanta Brave colors? Is that what I? Am
Might as well be.
I don't know what her thought was for that.
Should be aqua and purple. Since they're a bunch of
Near
ladies,
pink.
bunch of women.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
How about you, Aaron? Anything exciting in your world?
Today the final component of my new gaming PC arrived at my house, and so there. If you guys see the
Looks
mess
like
that
having
is
a baby.
behind me,
Yeah.
there it is. I'm in the process of putting that together, building that, and
Almost
I've
like having a
never.
baby, right?
Yeah, sort of. It's probably
Yeah.
harder to be honest with you. So, um, I've never done this before. Oh, Mom, why? Why would you say that? Stop. Start over. Rewind. Go back.
Way to go, Grammy Susan.
Yeah, nice job, Mimi. Um,
Ay, ay,
jeez.
ay.
Anywho, yeah, so I'm having a harder time over here than Becca was last week. I'm trying to put this cooling fan in, and the screws
So
aren't
what?
lining
Tell
up,
me,
so
it's taking you like 34 hours to get the cooling fan put
it
in.
just might, to be honest with you. Um, Mom!
I'm trying to think who that is.
Wow.
It was 10
This
years ago.
is this is
10 years ago. Wow.
Oh gosh, mom is
Naming
going.
names. Can't be naming names.
Mom ain't playing around.
what are you doing with your
Yikes.
life?
She's reliving it, obviously.
Yeah.
Mom!
Ay, ay, ay.
Gosh!
So, hey,
There's
it's what moms do, Aaron.
I know, but like there's people on Facebook, there are connections still that exist. Good lord. Oh my. Well, okay, so that happened. Anyway,
Subject.
that hard. Never done that before, and so I have a PC building video on my one monitor that I'm just going through like step by step trying to get that bad boy taken care of. But when it is all said and done, yeah, Mom, I did. Believe you me, I did. Um, when it's all said and done, the PC that I'm running right now runs at about like 60 to 70 frames per second. This bad boy is going to run at about 270 frames per second.
So did you build this from scratch, Aaron?
Yeah, like I bought all the
So
pieces separately.
how do you know that it's gonna work?
So there's a great website called PC Part Picker, and so they have their own like builds that you can use, or you can like build your own. But if you build your own, it knows like the system knows like if it will fit or if it won't fit, like if there will be size issues or whatever. Like it knows all that. So as you're building it, you can swap parts out and whatever to
So
make
it's
it
almost
work.
like a kit.
Um, it's not though, because you still have to order everything. Like everything's coming from different places. You essentially just go on there and they have a database full of all the parts,
Oh,
and you
really?
pick which ones you want and you put them into the build, your build, and then it tells you like
So
if
how many different parts did you have to order?
I think it was 8.
Is that all?
Yeah. Let me. I
Wow,
can pull up the build right now if you give me 1 second.
that's crazy.
I think it
So
was it was either 7 or 8.
to answer while you're doing that, Aaron, your mother asked, or no, I guess it was Junior. Junior Bender, I used to work with him. He had said, "So how long before you have an empty nest?" Well, that's yet to be determined.
Is Junior
So
Bender that you used to work with by chance related to an Alex Bender?
that I do
Where
not
did you
know.
work with him at?
Unify.
Oh, okay, then never mind. Maybe not.
He's
or
from.
or
I,
a mic bender?
I don't know, Junior. That is the question. Are
Yes.
you related to any of those guys? I think they actually live up near like I don't even know where they live.
Ow.
They live a ways away. So he's got a daughter named Cheyenne. So they both worked at Unify with me.
Okay.
So, but you
8.
know, so that means that they also work with Michaela. So that's why he's asking
Ah,
to be empty nest. So
that makes
anyway,
sense.
so
8 components, Brian
8.
confirmed. Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
Wow.
So you have the CPU,
You know
you have
when
the
you
CPU cooler, the motherboard, some memory, storage, video card, the shell, and the power supply.
wow, that's crazy.
So apparently putting it together is not that hard, which so far it wasn't until I got to this cooler, this fan. And the only reason it's hard is because like the bracket just kind of sits in a weird spot. It's a big block on the top and the bracket sits down below and you got to try to get like a really long screwdriver at an angle. But I think once I get that in there, the rest of it's pretty much put together. It's just really plugging and tie wrapping the cords and all that kind of stuff to make it look like nice and neat.
Is the case a see-through case like I see them build use?
Yes. So one side of it
Yeah.
will be completely clear, and then the two of the sides. No, one side will be clear, and then the top part will be like, it's like if mesh could be metal, like that's what the
Okay,
top
yeah,
looks
yeah.
like. So yeah, so you'll be able to see it. Now it won't have any like fancy LED lights in there or anything yet,
Yet.
but
Yeah.
yeah, 100% will be, adding
Like
to
Kyle,
it. So
it's like Kyle's four-wheel drive. You know, it's never done.
right,
You know, it'll never be
Yeah.
done.
it always needs something.
That's right. That's right.
Hopefully my wife is not watching this because
Air movie in the
as far
market
as she
this
as far
year.
as she knows, I'm done.
Yeah.
Hold on. Speaking of vehicles, while we're here, Brian, tell this guy that he should get heated seats and whatever else, the heated steering wheel. Like if he wants to buy like a work truck, not like a work truck, but he wants to buy one. It's like basic, and I told him I was like, get the nice stuff. If you're gonna buy a brand new truck and treat yourself to have the heated seats. If you don't use them, you don't use them. But your wife can use them. Your
Why
kid
pay
could use them.
for them?
Like
If I'm not
You're
going to
not
use
paying-
them, why pay for them?
Probably. What? So what are you gonna get? You gonna get brand new, Aaron? You getting brand new?
Probably because this is going to be like a family
Yeah.
car that we're going to
Yeah.
like.
it's probably gonna happen anyway.
Yeah. It'll probably.
If it has
It'll-
it, it has it. But here's my thing, like when I drive my wife's car, it has heated seats, so I use them. When I drive my car, it doesn't have them, so I don't. Like whatever, right? Like I don't desire them. I don't want them. I don't need them. If I want to be warm, I'll go out and I'll turn my car on and I'll warm it up for a couple minutes.
So then that's where the remote start comes in.
And I have that. So why do I need
Yeah.
heated seats?
Well, hey.
Look at it. I got an app on my phone.
What kind of seats you got though, dude? If you got leather seats, man.
Well, I
I don't
don't have
care how
leather
long
seats.
Well, then
We're
that's
gonna want some seat warmers.
yeah. Well, my wife has fabric seats in her Honda Civic.
Yeah.
And she had aftermarket seat heaters put in, and they
Oh.
my rump gets warm real quick.
See, I have this app right here. Whoops.
Yeah.
I think so. My
Yeah.
camera for you guys in the Discord is different than the one for the live, so I have to hold it
No,
over
you're
here.
right the first time.
No, that's
You're
for
right the first time.
that's for the Discord. Or wait,
Oh.
yeah, yeah.
No,
If
it's
you,
not.
yes, it is. Yes, it is. I'm looking at it right now. It's
Well,
on
I'm
Facebook.
looking
It's
at
showing.
the figure.
No, look. This is
Hey.
on Discord. That's on Discord.
Okay.
This is the camera
Oh.
for the live.
Oh, gotcha.
But
okay.
all I
Sorry.
gotta do is go into this app right here. It says start. You hold that button and it turns on. I don't even need my key. Like, what do I need? What do I need all that fancy heated seats and heated steering wheels and stuff for? If you just know that you're leaving and you turn your car on 5 minutes, 10 minutes before you go. Who cares?
I'm telling you.
All I need, Brian, all I need in my new car, my new truck, when I get it, is a screen
So,
that I can plug my phone into for Android Auto, so it pops up there, and I get my Spotify, I get my Google Maps. That's all I need. Anything else? I'm easy to please.
dude. But okay,
Oh, my
so
steering wheel's
what?
cold. Put a pair of gloves on.
Oh
Yeah,
my
who drives
goodness,
with gloves?
I'll put
You a
some driving
woman?
gloves on.
You're gonna look real cute. Buy pink
Or
and purple ones.
or here's a better one for you. Don't wear gloves and just be cold for a couple minutes until your car warms up. Oh no.
dude. Telling you, you're so so since you've never experienced Aaron, you've never. Well, you said your wife does have it, so
Yeah,
you
and
use
I
it.
don't even use them.
So if that's the
Not
case.
all the time
Why do you use it?
because it's there.
Well, so I
If
mean,
it's okay, so if it's there, if so she decided she wanted to pay for it, so she paid for it. She has the Ford Focus Titanium edition, so it's got everything. So if it's there, if she wants to pay for it and it's there, of course I'll use it. But I'm not going to spend an extra five, seven, $10,000 to increase the amount of
Not even like that.
to get heated seats
nah,
and heated steering wheels and heated mirrors on the side that defrost themselves.
But
Get out of here! Get out of here! Take five
but I
minutes, clean
talked
the
to
snow off your car.
dude.
I
So
talked to Aaron on the phone one time, and he was driving Alexa's car, and I said, "Why are you driving Alexa's car?" And he said, "Because she has heated seats." And now he's arguing with me about this. I'm
So
like, "Hold on, you wanted it. You used it. You used her car because of that. That was his first and only reason he gave me."
so that night it was like 12 degrees. But
yeah,
again,
He didn't
if
warm the car up that
right,
night.
but if we have it and it's available to me, I'll use it. But I'm not going to if I didn't have it, if my car didn't have heated seats and her car didn't have heated seats, guess what? I would have been in a car and I would have been driving down your house and my butt would have been cold for a little bit. So
yeah.
what?
That's but
Luxury of having it was good.
they're not even that expensive, man.
Well, I
My
don't know.
wife's aftermarket ones were probably more expensive than ones that are put in the factory,
Oh, that's for
and they
sure
were
not
like
happening.
they were like 300 or 400 bucks.
My
That's it.
my truck will roll off the lot and whatever is on it is on it. There ain't
Are
no
you,
aftermarket heated seats going on. No, 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 no,
well,
no.
so what? So please tell me you're at least getting 4-wheel drive.
Well, yeah, of course. Yeah,
Okay. Well, I mean that's
yeah. I want a
okay.
Chevy Silverado. That's what I want. I want a Silverado. Obviously four wheel
So
drive.
king cab,
No.
no king cab, no
What?
4 doors.
Oh, yes, 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 yes,
I say
yes.
you need
Sorry.
a
Yeah.
big cab,
No, yeah,
bro.
yeah,
Okay. All right.
yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Well, hey. Well, at least you're halfway there anyway, dude.
And
You're
then
halfway.
yeah,
The
and
other
then
half is Ford.
all I want is that screen. That's it. That's all. Just the screen. Easy to
Oh
please.
my.
Yeah, yeah.
Too funny. Too funny.
Junior Bender said Mike is my brother.
Mike Bender from Helm.
Where did he say he's from, Aaron?
Um, oh, Juniata. He said, Alex, no, I'm from Juniata County.
So
So
I'm not sure if it's the same Mike or not.
I don't know where Juniata is.
Juniata
Yeah.
is up near it's on the way to Lewistown.
I don't know where Lewistown is.
Up 322. Come on, dude. On
Up
the way to
above
State
Harrisburg.
College.
Okay, got it.
Oh my word.
Oh my.
That's the reason you don't want heated seats.
Thank you,
Un
Brian.
unfreaking
You know what?
believable.
When I get my nice new truck, I'm not taking either one of you for a ride because your butt might get a little too cold. You might be uncomfortable, so I don't want you guys to be uncomfortable in my
Well,
nice new
I'll
truck.
go for a ride for when it's like springtime.
No, I don't know, because then you should probably have air conditioned seats, because that's a thing now
Well, I
too.
have that too. So
True.
Unfreaking real, unreal. We're so spoiled. Let's talk about it. We're spoiled.
they're first world problems, man.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Some kids don't have water. We don't have air conditioned seats.
No, I do have air conditioned seats, so it's not an issue.
Okay, okay, all right. No, not the same one. Mifflintown area. Okay.
So
Guessing so. There's more than one Mike Bender in the world.
yeah,
Bender.
how about that?
Oh, all right. Well, um, interesting question that Kyle proposed to me like last week. I still don't know that I have an answer for this, but I guess I'm going to be put on the spot tonight, so I should probably figure it out. But um, he asked me this in a text, and we just proposed it to Brian earlier today. So we're going to ask it. chat, we want you to throw in your thoughts here, but and it will. This is gonna seem like it's a sport, like it could be a sports question, but it also you can make this like a work team, right? Or family team. I don't know. Not necessarily. It doesn't necessarily have to be sports, but would you rather be a mediocre player on a Super Bowl team or a star player on a mediocre team? So obviously, if you were to translate that to work, right? Would you rather be like an average employee doing, on a team that's doing great things, or just the best employee working with a bunch of duds?
So, Aaron, while they're contemplating that, did you see Bender's Junior's comment? Stu, have Brian let you test drive his new Ford pickup.
Yeah,
So I will tell you right now, if you want to let me test drive your Ford, I will 100% test drive your Ford.
it is a pretty
Okay.
sweet truck.
But I'm a big, big fan of the Chevy Silverado body. I like the way
Really?
they look, man. They look so sharp.
He likes brick.
The front end on that truck looks so freaking beefy. Oh, yeah.
Looks like it slammed right into a wall and went doop.
I love it.
No curves.
You look at you see that in the rear view mirror, you're gonna get out the way. I like it.
Well, it's funny you say that, Stu, because the other day when we were going back home to Mare's parents, we pulled into my mother-in-law's place, and she lives out in the middle of nowhere, so there's no street lights, nothing like that. And she said, when I came in, she said, "Man, I thought there's a freaking spaceship coming down my driveway." That's the same thing.
Yeah.
But,
Trying to find like I don't know if they make the color that I want. I don't know if I'd have to get it painted, or I probably wouldn't. But
Pink.
can't do
They don't.
that. You ain't getting heated seats. You can't be painting it.
You know how much it costs to paint a truck
Heck
yeah,
or vehicle?
well, we're swimming in it, so
And dude, I tell you what, man. You're getting it brand new, so if you're gonna get it brand new, you might as well order it. Get what you want on it.
yeah. Trying to find
No
Kyle,
heated seats.
no heated seats. Kyle, you remember my Ford Fusion that I had, like that gunmetal?
Yeah.
That's the color I want, but I don't know if they
Okay.
manufacture it in that color.
Like a
Brandon,
charcoal,
tell
like a
Pappy
dark
that
gray.
he needs to test drive my Ford too.
He will never.
Yeah.
Before we got licenses, he was always like, I don't want a Ford parked in my driveway. Then I got my Mustang, was like, hey.
He ain't never seen my truck though.
And then I got a Ford Fusion.
Oh, there you go.
But getting
No.
getting the if I get a Chevy, well, I have a Chevy Malibu now, and that makes him happy. He's a happy pappy.
Happy Pappy.
I can't find him. Anywho, going backwards, Pappy likes hearing that. Okay. So yeah, would you rather be a mediocre player on a championship team or a star player on a mediocre team? And I think we clearly defined like the mediocre team as no chance at winning it,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Like, are you a playoff team, or are you just like a 9-8, like maybe a wild card team, but you're not making it. You're not making it deep in the
Nah,
playoffs. Like,
I would say like bad.
well, that's not mediocre. I wouldn't say that's mediocre.
No. Yeah, I mean like the
So would you rather
I don't
be
know.
a mediocre player, average player on a championship team, or a great player on the 2015 Detroit Lions? Sorry,
That
Brian.
was coming.
When was the year didn't they go over?
Yeah. 0-16.
Okay,
I think it was
2016.
16 to 14 or 15.
Jeez.
What? An over and a one for?
That was ugly. Oh, they've
Ugh.
done that too.
No, that was the Jets.
They've
Did
done
they?
that too. Unbelievable.
So what do you guys got? What do you think?
That's a tough question, man. I mean,
It's really tough.
I think a lot of it depends on your motivation doing what you're doing. If you're playing the sport that you love, it's not going to matter either way. But you know, if and that carries over in my mind into anything that I'm doing. If I'm doing what I'm doing, what I love, then it's not going to be work. So do I want to do that in an environment where I'm the top dog, or do I want to do it in an environment where I'm just part of the crowd? You know, I mean, that's a tough question.
Yeah,
It's a tough.
It is hard.
I think without sounding like dumb here, I think it's a very telling question, right? Because if you look at like athletes, right? And I'm gonna curse here and say the name that I don't. LeBron James. Okay.
Who?
Yeah,
The goat?
Yeah, exactly. No, whoa, 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 whoa,
yeah,
whoa, no, no,
baby.
no, no,
Yeah,
no, no,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
no,
Go,
no.
Brian. He's learning. He's learning.
No, I don't know. He does not agree. He does not agree.
I know.
He's just
I know.
trolling.
My goat
Um,
is he's the geekiest of all time. That's
yeah,
that's
there you
Oh
go.
my gosh.
Um, but you look at like a player like that, and obviously he is the probably the greatest player of our generation.
Yeah.
Um,
Stop, Brian. Smiling. What are we doing here?
but he's also played on championship teams, right? So,
well, and I think when you look at his mentality though too, he doesn't want to be the big fish in a little pond. He wants to be the big fish in the big pond.
he wants to be the
So
big fish with the other
That's of
big
both
fishes.
worlds.
right, and that's that like you said, Aaron. That's very telling
Yeah.
because that to me is just like that's it is what it is.
So
You know,
like,
I look at somebody like Kobe, and Kobe wanted to be the big fish, but he also wanted the people around him to become better
right.
because he knew he couldn't do it by himself. So, I mean,
Yeah,
it's a different mentality.
that's where I see without trying not to get into the goat debate, but the distinction between like LeBron and some of the other guys in the conversation, whereas like some of the other guys didn't team hop, they didn't, they like Kobe, right? He was a Laker his entire career, and he played with whoever the front office gave him, and he was successful that way because he put in
Yeah.
the work, right? He worked hard, and he was the big fish, and he didn't care who else was in the pond, right?
Right. Right.
Um,
Junior brings up a great person too, is Dan Marino. You know, never
Yeah.
never sniffed a championship.
yeah,
But yet, did the best that he possibly could.
yep.
So,
Junior Kyle is a Dolphins fan, so you just made him very happy. But
so
yeah, I
it's
think
interesting.
it's
Go ahead.
telling. Like it I guess it depends on your motivation, right? So like, is your motivation selfish, or is it for a collective purpose, right? So obviously in sports, your motivation could be really either, right? Are you trying to make the Hall of Fame, right? That's a selfish goal. It's a goal that's all about you.
And,
Or
and
are you trying to win a championship, and that's a collective goal, and that's about teams. So where do you want to be?
so another question to put out there to you, Aaron and Kyle. What do you guys think? So do you think it's easier to make the Hall of Fame as the superstar on a mediocre team, or a good player on a good team?
I think it'd
Um,
be harder on a mediocre team because if you got Justin Jefferson out there and you got I'm not, Justin Fields, he's not horrible. Let's go with Kenny Pickett. I'm not a fan. If you got Kenny Pickett throwing the ball to Justin Jefferson all the time, I don't know that he could be that potential. But if you have like a Dak and CD, like a top going at each other and putting stats up, then I think it's a lot easier to hit the Hall of Fame than being the number one wide receiver with a crappy quarterback. You might not get there. I actually never thought of that when I thought of my opinion on the subject.
I mean, that's. Yeah, Aaron bringing up a great thought because again, let's go back to Marino. Marino's a Hall of Fame quarterback, but I mean, he may have, and I look at my team, the Detroit Lions. I mean, Barry Sanders, for God's sake. I mean, the dude was just phenomenal, and he walked away early, and yet had no inclination to try and do anything else.
yeah,
So he was obviously a superstar on a very bad team for years. So
yeah,
it's interesting.
because like, so when I was kind of thinking through this, I was like, okay, if I were to translate it to like my work environment, right? Like I work in human resources, and obviously I work with a team, right? I have several coworkers that I work with. I have a boss, right? We all work together. But at work, what is my goal? Is my goal to see human resources at Vitro be as successful as possible? Of course. But at the same time, do I care more about my future and my own career more than I care about the collective group of you bet I do, right? So
Right.
so in those moments, like, or in that situation, I'm going for the Hall of Fame, right? I want opportunities, and I want, you know, I want to see
So
my career improve. Whereas an athlete, I think all athletes, some of them know their place, right? They know, like, they're not going to be in the Hall of Fame, but then there's others that know, like, they can get there, and you have to kind of, like, is it about me or is it about us? And or if you're good enough, it can be about both. Like, again, I try not to be biased in sports. So LeBron, obviously, he's good enough to make it about both. He can pad the stats, and he can also take over a game, and he can win the game for his team. Um, but then there's other guys where it's like they need pieces around them to be successful. Like, they're good enough. So for instance, like a Kevin Durant. Okay, Kevin Durant, can he do both? Can he put a game on his shoulders? And we haven't really seen it. I mean, every place he's had success, he had Steph, he had Draymond, he
Westbrook.
had Klay Thompson, he had
I
Westbrook
look
and Harden, and ever since he left kind of those superstars, he's kind of been a dud.
and I look at him as exactly what Kyle was talking about. He wants to be the big fish and really in the big pond, but he's not. So he wants to be the big fish in the little pond because like he had. I mean, why in the world would you walk away from Steph Curry and
Klay
and
Thompson, Draymond
Klay
Green,
Thompson? Yeah,
Iguodala, bro, they could have won 10 in a row.
heck yeah. I mean, that's crazy. To win what they win. One he was there for a year, right? Or two.
No,
Whatever.
two maybe.
Yeah, I think well they won
They
they
won
only
one, and then was he on the team when LeBron came back? When LeBron came
uh
back down 3-1 or whatever, they won three in a row.
think so. Yeah. Yeah.
I think
And
he was
so,
one
it's
and
like
one.
yeah. So it's like, dude, it just doesn't make any sense. But
Yeah,
anyway, I mean that's the whole thing. I mean, what's your mentality? And I think that's what the answer to the question is. What are you looking to achieve?
accomplished. Yep.
For me, I'm in sales, so you know, obviously I want to be the best, and it's easier for me to do that if I'm in a small pond. If I want to, you know, make as much money as I possibly can because of my sales, then a small pond's better for me. So, and then again, it's like you said, Aaron. It goes back to your mentality. What do you want?
What's your
You know,
motivation?
right? Exactly.
Yeah,
What about you, Kyle? What do you think?
So I I still don't have an answer. This was like a week ago. I think like it would be so if you're the bad player and say you're a quarterback, you might be a second string quarterback. You might not even see the field and go win a Super Bowl. And like, yeah, it's great to have that team unity and like our team, we won a Super Bowl, but did you really do anything? Like that's got to be a thought there. But then knowing that you're the number one quarterback in the league, or not number one, but you're one of the greatest quarterbacks in the league, but you'll never see the playoffs. Has that's I mean, it's got to be horrible. But it would be awesome to maybe be that number one player. Like I don't know, I was just thinking it would be cool if you were the great player and making all that money and like this might sound corny, but like you got obviously you got family. Like some of those guys, like most of those guys go, they pay their mom and their dad's house off, and they buy them their new cars, and like just to do that would be sweet. Like go to my grandparents, obviously their house is paid off, but like they have antique cars. Like I could just go have them shipped off and have the top notch everything. Pay my mom's house off. Aaron, do whatever. Buy him a new truck. Like
no, student
it,
loans,
it would
student
be
loans.
sweet. Whatever. Yeah, sure. But like I think that would be cool. And then if you're the mediocre player, you get that Super Bowl perk of winning and you get a ring. But then the ring sits there and you're like, man, I really didn't even do anything for that. So
That's where I went when I was
It's
thinking through
tough.
that. I was like, if I'm that mediocre player, right, and they give you the ring, they take the team picture, right, and like think of baseball, right? So baseball, you got like was it between your bullpen? Was it they got like a 40-man roster or something like that at
They have
points throughout the
40-man
season?
roster, but there's during the season it's 26
26.
guys.
So you got
Yep.
26 guys, but what don't they expand it for the playoffs? Is that
Yeah. Yeah.
that's 40?
Yeah.
Okay. So
And
so
in
that
September, you give September call. Not in the playoffs, but in September, late season,
okay.
they expand it to 40.
But so they blow like you take that big picture, right? And you got people that you're like, who in the world is that, right? Like they didn't have an at bat, they didn't play the field at all, right? And those guys are getting a championship ring. And if I'm one of those guys and I'm taking my championship ring home and I'm taking my team picture home and I'm like, I mean, it was really cool to like sit there and have dinner with those guys and talk to them and whatnot. But like when it came to actually executing and like doing your thing on the field, you didn't do nothing. You were gifted that ring.
Yeah.
Right.
So personally, I wouldn't like that. I would rather, um, I don't know.
Really, really, Aaron? I mean, that's a tough thing, man. Because I mean, and if we're talking about professional sports, I mean, when next weekend when the Super Bowl happens, there's going to be really when you look at it from perspective, I don't know how big the rosters are for the NFL. Let's say 60 guys. You know, there's 120 guys left playing, and at the end, there's going to be 60 winners.
Yeah,
You know, that's what I when I was coaching high school basketball and we made it to district playoffs. We were one of like at one point one of four teams left in the entire district.
yeah,
So it makes a difference. Depending again, it goes back to your mentality. What do you want to do?
yeah.
You know, if I'm a mediocre player, I want to be on a good team. You know, if I'm if I'm
Even if it
and
means
and
you're
it
not
goes
playing.
yeah, oh heck yeah, my goodness, dude, yes,
Ah, you
because
gotta play for the love of the game, though.
what's that?
I I
That's
would I would rather I think be a mediocre player on a mediocre team than to be on a and have a chance to play and know that I'm playing and helping his team work trying to win than to sit there and watch the bench and say, oh, yep, there goes Brock Purdy again. Man, I wish he'd get hurt. And then the next guy gets hurt because I'm the third string and I can't get in and play. This really stinks. But yeah, go guys, go, go, go. Like, I'd rather be a mediocre player on a mediocre team than a mediocre player on a Super Bowl winning team when I didn't do anything.
But when you look at it though, Kyle, Brock Purdy was a mediocre player. He was the last guy in the
It
draft for
was.
crying out loud. You know, he was
oh stop
Aaron,
stop. Do you hear what he
what's
said? Though
that?
he said still
No.
is. Oh
you were
come
there
on.
talking about it on ESPN today. I was like, man, I wish Aaron would listen to this.
He was a mediocre player because I mean, dude, he was Mr. Irrelevant for crying out loud. When he,
Mhm.
when I don't even know who the quarterback was before him now. Who was it?
Buffalo.
Huh?
And then who was that young
Trey
kid that went to Dallas?
Trey Lance.
Trey Lance. That's right.
So there's a prime example. Trey Lance was supposed to be the savior, you know, and you got Brock Purdy, who's like third string quarterback on this team, and they get rid of that one guy. The other guy gets hurt, and now it's Brock's show, and now he's become Mr. Relevant, and I mean he'll probably be the only person in history to go from the last pick in the draft to possibly
Winning
Super
a
Bowl
Super Bowl.
champion, right?
Oh,
And he could be
years.
he technically literally could be the MVP of the Super Bowl. I mean, that's
That would be
crazy,
Yeah,
great.
because they only pick quarterbacks.
right? So,
I
so
hate
you look
that.
at it from a perspective and say, you know, I mean, so he was a mediocre player on a great team. He's a systems quarterback, right?
That's what they say. That's what they say.
So, I again, I'm looking at it from perspective saying, do I want to be part of a championship team? Or so the prime example, another example I'll give you guys. Last year, I was an assistant coach for a varsity high school boys basketball team. All right, they haven't won a game in 3 years. Okay, they haven't
Was
won a game in 3 years,
wow.
and there was a kid on there that was decent. All right, he was decent, but he couldn't. I mean, couldn't make a difference. Didn't make a difference. I mean, we were getting blown out. There'd be nights where we'd get beat by 60, 75 points. You
Sheesh.
know,
Wow.
I
It's
mean, do you want to
demoralizing.
play it? So now you look at that. It's like, okay, what if as a good player, if I'm a good player, do I want to play in that environment and do that? I wouldn't. You know, I'd rather I'd rather go and be. So if I'm a good player, I want to go be on a good team, even if that means that I'm going to have to give up some playing time.
You just put a spin on that. That wasn't really an option.
Yeah, it was because the whole question is, do you want to be a big fish in a little pond or a little fish in a big pond? So
You just
if I'm a good player and I go on a good team, I'm now a little fish in a big pond. I'm now a big fish or a little fish in a big pond
do you say you're a
because
good
I'm
player
not,
on a good team?
huh?
Do you say you're a
What's
good
that?
player on a good team?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
that wasn't the question. It was a mediocre player.
Oh, well, okay.
I understand what you're saying. I'm just giving you a hard time. Um,
So no, well, so a mediocre player on a good team. I mean, so then your mindset is okay. I'm not good enough to play on this team, but we're still good. So,
yeah,
I
I
mean,
also think if we're talking exclusively sports, and maybe this sounds silly, but I think the sport matters as well.
100%.
Because, so talk about like basketball. Like, what's the typical roster size for like an NBA team?
uh, 12.
12? Okay, so if you're a mediocre player on a basketball team, right? So you got five on the floor. How many of those backup seven are seeing time every game? Would you say?
Typically, what they do. So, for instance, just the NBA, they typically have two five-man teams. So
Okay.
your last two, 10 and 11 and 12, they'll probably never see the court.
Okay. So percentage wise, if you're on an NBA roster, if you're a mediocre player on a great team, you're still gonna play.
Right.
Fair.
Right.
Um, whereas baseball, if you're a mediocre player on a great team, you ain't playing. You ain't playing unless Freddie Freeman needs a day off. Like you ain't seeing you're not getting ABs, you're not playing the field, not at all. Football also maybe a little bit I don't know what the roster size, the flexibility of that is, but like
Only 53, ain't it?
there's a ton of
53 man
people.
roster.
Yeah, I was thinking 60,
So if you're a
but
second string, defense or so, I mean you're rotating in and out for sure to give your top guys rest. And I would say by definition, if we're saying mediocre, I wouldn't say you're a third string or a practice squad, right? I would say if you're a mediocre player, you're either a starter or you're a second string. So again, you're going to see playing time as a mediocre player in the NFL. But in the MLB, mm-mm.
right, right.
So Junior hit us with two things here. So his first one, who are you guys thinking should be the NFL's MVP after this past week's performances?
Well, isn't
So
MVPs only regular season?
that's what I
Like
was gonna say.
playoffs don't matter.
Yep. NFL MVP is a regular season award, so what happens in the playoffs doesn't change. My opinion, I think it still has to be Lamar.
Hmm. Interesting.
Nobody wants to.
Wait,
I, I think that's going to be the popular choice. I think he'll win it, but I think a guy like McCaffrey is just uh, uh, he's the best. He's in my mind, he's the best player in the league right now.
Yeah, and that's what all these people were high on Brock Purdy for MVP, and I'm like, bro's not even the most valuable player on his team. How can he
Right.
like you take
Right.
McCaffrey off that squad and I don't
Yeah,
think
and
they're a
that
shell of
was
what they
Junior's
are.
second point. You take those guys off, McCaffrey and Kittle. I mean, Kittle. Kittle came on late, um, but it's crazy. So
Kittle and Kelsey are kind of doing like the same thing. Like they
yeah,
didn't really show up in the regular season, but near the end of the regular season, now in the postseason, they're just kind of taking over and getting fired up.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
So
yeah, Kyle's gonna agree with you there, Junior. Purdy's just average without McCaffrey and Kittle and the wide receivers.
And Debo and Brandon Ayuk and like you said, Aaron, you can't penalize the guy
Yeah,
for having all stars, which I totally agree. Like they set that team up well, and that's how he's what making 800 or 900,000. I think they said on ESPN today,
yeah,
and
that's crazy.
that's why he can have those players. But now that he proves himself, hopefully he'll be like Tom Brady and not take that big pay to get those good all star players in there. But if he comes in and says, "No, I'm top five quarterback in the league, I feel blah blah blah, I want money," then you got to say, "All right, we're going to trade Debo away, and then we're going to bring in Joe Blow, and then it'll show is he really that good, or because they obviously never get rid of Kittle or McCaffrey, Debo, Brandon Ayuk probably could go, and then you'll see is he that guy that everybody thinks he is or wants to think he is or is he just another mediocre quarterback that needs people?
I would say that, I mean that's I think you have two. Mahomes is good, but he's not in my mind. He's not a superstar.
Oh, Brian, come on,
Telling you, dude. I'm
come
telling
on,
you
dude.
because you look at the tools that he's got around him. Now, I'm not saying he's not good, but I'm saying he's not Dan Marino-ish. All right, I don't think. I mean, I don't think he'll probably end up in the Hall of Fame, but I don't think
He
he's on
might
that level.
he might finish his career as the best quarterback to ever play the game.
Well, I mean,
He
but
might.
why is that, Aaron? You think it's because of his
Well,
talent?
I mean, look. So okay, look what he. Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. I think he is crazy talented, and that is so difficult to say as a Denver Broncos fan. I hate that man. I hate him because I have to play. We have to play him twice a year for the next decade, and I hate that. I hate knowing that, and I wish Andy Reid would retire and the whole system would somehow get blown up because I hate it. Um, but he is a freaking athlete. The throws he makes, the way he creates, he creates plays and makes time with his feet. The throws he makes off his back foot, the throws he makes sidearmed, um,
Okay,
it's just
so
crazy what he can do.
but do you okay? So let's take him out of Kansas City though. Put him in Detroit. Put him. Not even in Detroit. Let's put him in Chicago.
So here's the thing.
What
So you can say
what is the
that,
difference?
but you don't know. We don't
Oh,
know.
right. I agree.
And
I
so
agree.
all we
But what's
can
your opinion? So what's your opinion though? Do you think does he take Chicago to the playoffs by himself? Because that's really what he's going to have to do.
The star he has there is DJ Moore, and he's the number two anywhere else.
So
so I'm trying to figure out how to word this. So he has I, look what he's doing this year. I mean, he has Andy Reid, right? So
He's
that's a
done.
big. His receivers suck. Like his receivers are awful. Who of take Travis Kelsey out of the equation? Who's
okay,
better? Who's better right now? The Chiefs' number one wideout or DJ Moore? DJ
I
Moore.
don't know.
Nah, I would
Well,
say Rasheed Rice.
Okay, I would put them on the same tier then. I wouldn't say
Okay, yeah, they're probably the same tier then.
so
Yeah.
so so your argument for the wideouts there is somewhat irrelevant because he's already doing it with receivers. And the thing is, they won games. Kelsey wasn't a factor for
oh, I know. I know.
more than half the season, and he was still
I don't.
winning
Oh,
football
dude,
games.
I don't know about that.
Dude,
I
he
mean,
did he
come
did
on.
That
not.
was more than yeah.
No, he didn't show
Because
up.
he had 900 yards this year.
Yeah. Let me look at his stats.
Wait, what do you mean he? Hold on. You mean he was injured and wasn't there,
No,
or
like
they just sucked and he wasn't
yeah,
there?
he just didn't
A
perform
factor. I, there's no way,
until
dude. No
until
way.
I'm looking it up. Kelsey.
What was
I can't.
Patrick Mahomes' stats for this year?
I am not saying that Patrick Mahomes is not a good quarterback. I'm just saying the he is not as good as everybody thinks he is. Because he has the tools, man. He's got the tools in his tool belt. He's got a great coach. He's got a good tight end. He's got decent receivers. He's got more than just him. You know, I mean, look at freaking Matthew Stafford in Detroit, dude. You know, he got traded away and won a Super Bowl the next year because he didn't have anybody. You know, so
It took
you know,
Kelsey till week 10 to get double-digit receptions.
well, whose fault is that though?
His and Mahomes, both of
Really?
them. He
Uh,
was dropping passes. He was yeah, dude. He was a shell. Now again,
Wasn't his fault.
too
That
much
was Taylor
tape.
Swift's fault.
oh yeah, Taylor Swift's yeah.
Yeah.
He had double-digit receptions only 2 times this year, week 10 and week
Yeah,
12.
yeah. So what about the other receivers? What other receivers did Patrick Mahomes have?
Rasheed Rice,
Rasheed Rice,
Marquez Valdez Scantling.
Kadarius Tony, who
He ain't.
can't catch a cold. And that man still found a way. Pat Mahomes still found a way to win games. And again, this sucks that I'm defending him. I hate that I'm defending him because I can't stand that man. I can't stand him,
Yeah,
and I can't stand
I
Travis
get it.
Kelsey either. But
Well, but see, Kyle, you're an honest fan though.
my
You
name's
know,
Aaron.
you're an honest fan, and I think that that's the thing that a lot of people aren't. You know, I mean, and thank goodness none of us are Dallas Cowboy fans here.
Amen.
You
Praise the
know,
Lord. Hallelujah.
I mean, it's just that's just typical Dallas Cowboy fan is crazy anyway. But when you look at it from a perspective, I look at it and I'm like, okay, you know, I'm not saying he's not a good quarterback, but he's not as good as everybody says he is. He's an excellent quarterback, and he'll probably end up in the Hall of Fame because of his Super Bowl wins and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, he's just it's I look at it from perspective and say, what else does he have? What else does he have? That was the same thing with um oh Jesus, the name just slipped my mind. The quarterback from Detroit.
Jared
Um,
Goff.
yeah, for Goff. Goff was in L.A. and was nothing. And he came here, and first year he was pretty bad, and then second year was better, and then this year was phenomenal. But it's because of the team around him. He's not. I don't look at Goff as a superstar quarterback. I don't. He's probably he might be top 10, but
I was gonna
Mm,
say top 15.
he's definitely top 15. But I don't think he's top 10. Definitely not top 5. But it's because of the tools that he's got. So
all right, so quick detour. Well, not detour, but I'm gonna take the Pat Mahomes conversation and take it a different route.
all right,
Two-time Super Bowl champion already. Could get three next week.
yeah, right.
Could he pass Tom Brady? Could he eclipse
No,
Tom Brady in
I
Super
mean,
Bowl
he could.
championships?
I don't think he will.
He has been. Hear me? What is this year? Uh, was this year his fifth? In his career as a starter, he has played in the AFC Championship game every year. That is
yeah,
wild. That's
that is
wild.
Is
awesome.
he anything without Andy Reid?
Again, so you don't know, but
Hopefully, we find out.
yeah, well, agreed. Yeah, and hopefully he's not. So, um,
I think. See there again. How many did Brady win? 6. Did he win 6? 7.
six or
Yeah,
was it seven?
I think it's 6. I don't know.
But we had the same people had the same conversation about Tom Brady. Well, it's Tom Brady. It was the system that Bill Belichick put in place, and blah blah blah. And he's just a product of Bill Belichick, blah blah blah. And then Tom Brady said, "Okay, watch." And he left. Not only did he leave his division, he left his conference, went to a completely different conference, and won the Super Bowl the very next year, albeit with a very
Oh,
talented
he
team.
retired.
There you so that is going to be that's what I was just going to say, Aaron. He didn't do it on his own.
No,
You know.
but
Yeah,
let's also
I would say his last 5 years, probably 90% of his passes are less than 10 yards.
oh Tom Brady.
Yeah,
I would say his
yeah,
entire career.
yeah. I mean, it's just crazy.
It was little
Be-
dink passes,
Because
but
yeah, I mean, it's just crazy. So, I think there are that superstars like who's the best quarterback you guys in your guys' mind ever? Who's the best quarterback ever?
probably Brady.
You think so?
Oh, okay. Well, are we
Talent
talking
wise.
not
Talent wise.
not most successful?
Yeah. Yeah, talent wise.
I would say of players that I've seen, um, Aaron Rodgers.
Ah,
Okay. I think you guys are gonna think I'm crazy, but I think that Michael Vick was one of the best quarterbacks I've ever seen.
No, I don't
You know,
disagree.
I mean, he was a full package. He could throw, he could run. He was a smart player, but you know, but how successful was he? Not very, because he didn't have anything else around him.
all star
But
on a mediocre team.
yep, yep, very much so. So
Trying to see who Brady's head coach was in 2020 with the Bucks. I'm pretty sure was it Todd Bowles? Because if that's the
that I
case,
don't know.
that's a testament to Tom Brady. If he won a Super Bowl with Todd Bowles as his head coach, he's doing something right.
That'd be like having me as a head coach.
No, stop. 2020 Tampa Bay Buccaneers head coach. I'm looking this up because I know he's the
I
head
really like
coach.
this junior guy because I'm not an Aaron Rodgers fan either. That guy gets so lucky with like five
Uh,
seconds to go and chucks up the 70-yard bomb and has Devontae jumping up and touchdown. They won the playoff game. I'm like, hold on,
that only happened
Beat my
two
you'll get real
Lions.
times,
lucky.
and
Who was it?
it wasn't Todd Bowles. It was Bruce Arians.
Okay,
He's a good head coach.
good coach. Good coach. So so this is an argument that I look at from a perspective of saying, how do I apply it to me? Do I want to be, obviously, from my perspective, if I'm a good player, I want to be the man. I want to be the man, you know, and I'll do whatever I can. So if the team's bad, the team's bad. And again, Aaron, I think you make a great point. It depends on the sport too. Because I can be, whether or not we like LeBron as a player or as a person, the dude is a phenomenal basketball player.
Yep.
You know, as soon as he walks on the court, he makes a team better. It doesn't matter if the team is in last place, he makes a team better. You know, I and so I think that's the difference. Baseball is probably the toughest sport to be a superstar and make a difference.
Yep.
You know, I mean, look at Mike Trout and Otani
I was
in
gonna say,
California.
yep. See the Angels.
Right. They're a terrible team,
Yep.
but I mean, those dudes are just beasts, man.
Those are two
You
of
know?
the best players
Yeah.
of our generation,
Right.
and they were on the same team, and they didn't even make the playoffs. Like
Right.
that's
Yeah.
crazy.
That's
And
crazy.
everybody's crowning the Dodgers already, for the moves that they're making. Now, granted, the Dodgers roster was already better than the Angels, and so now
Yeah.
so of course the odds increase, but you never know, man. You never know with baseball. But yeah,
So
like,
how
go ahead.
so how does that make you feel? So let's say that you're Freddie Freeman, first baseman for the LA Dodgers. I mean, I would consider Freeman probably the best player on the team. You know, um, I mean, there's obviously you got Mookie Betts and
Yep.
some of these other guys, but he's I mean I would say in my mind one of the best.
Yeah.
You know,
Agreed.
so now you've got Otani, who is superstar and then some coming over. How you gonna feel if you're Freddie Freeman taking back seat to him?
If I'm winning championships, I don't care.
Yeah, because
That's
you're
good.
still
But
not a mediocre
right,
player.
right, yeah, I think that's the distinction, right? So if you're Freddie Freeman, you're still you're still
Top dogs with
yeah,
Mookie. You still have those top dog, top tier level players. You ain't just Joe Blow down here watching Freddie and
right.
Shohei and Mookie play
Like
and saying, "Man, this
like
really
I if
stinks."
I'm Freddie Freeman, I know every day I go out onto the field, like me and Mookie and Shohei, like we're going out and we're gonna put a show on, and it's gonna be like
Yeah.
I so
Fire.
I would say for me as a Phillies fan, it takes me back to like 2010 when it was Cliff Lee, Roy Halladay, Cole Hamels, Roy Oswalt, like top four of our rotation. I'm sure like Roy Halladay, he didn't give a hoot when they signed Cliff Lee, right?
Right.
And Cole Hamels was a Philly before both of them, and he went from number one to number three in that rotation. maybe that stings a little bit because you used to be the guy and now you're being bumped out in the rotation. But when you look at again, I it all goes back to mentality, right? So for Cole Hamels in that moment, is it about the team? Do you want to win? Because if you want to win, you take that number 3 slot in the rotation and you admire what you're seeing above you at 1 and 2 because these two guys are better than you, and you play your role and you do your job. Or are you ticked off because it used to be my team? I used to be the number one. Now I want out of here and I want to go somewhere else, you know, and because it's all about you.
Being jealous.
Right. Because you're not the guy anymore. And that's what, like, I'll be interested to see, like, the Phillies this year with Nola. Nola did not pitch well last year at all until, like, the end of the season. He's been a Philly for a long time, obviously. Wheeler, he came in from the Mets. He's been pitching great every year he's been there. Nola's on a streak. I forget how many years in a row opening day starter, but if you ask me right now who the opening day starter is this year, it should be Wheeler 100%. But I'm just anxious to see what happens there with Rob Thompson and who he names as the opening day starter. Like, are you going to give it to Wheeler because he earned it? Or are you going to give it to Nola because
Right.
he's
Right.
been there for a while? And again, if you're Nola and Wheeler does get it, what does that do to you, right? Do you get
Right.
ticked off because it's about me and I deserve it because I've been a Philly longer than him, and while he did pitch better than me, I redeemed myself in the postseason, right? Me. Or is it, hey, Zach earned it. He pitched well. I didn't pitch as well as him, but I want to go out there at number 2 and I want to pitch my best game and I want to help my team win.
So with that question on the table, what do you guys think Otani's mentality was? So he was the big dog in the little pond, and now he's really the big dog in the big pond.
Yeah,
You know, he's the shark, and you got the other guys becoming guppies. So
yeah. I
what's
mean,
his mentality?
if if he's not all about winning a championship, he's talking a really good talk because
Yeah.
that's all we heard in the offseason was he wanted to go somewhere where, excuse me, where he could win. And I mean, he definitely found the team that they have
He
the
picked a
players
good
and they
place.
have the money to do it. But again, like you said, in baseball that doesn't always mean anything. Injuries can happen and it's a long season, and um so obviously you can't tell me, right, that, and it's the same thing we've talked about live golf. These guys who went to live golf, don't sit there and try to blow smoke up my butt and tell me that the money was not a factor. It 100% mattered, right? There was no
Right.
way Shohei Ohtani was signing a deal with another team, and it was not going to be the largest contract in all of baseball, right? He was not going to
Right.
settle for anything less. And maybe he shouldn't. I don't know. But, you
And
know,
the one difference in that situation though is that you know for live golf, if they're not paying them the money, they're not going.
right.
There's
Yeah,
no reason to,
right.
because you're already at the top of the food chain if you're playing on the PGA.
Well, you
and
could make the
and
same argument. You're already playing at the top level of your sport if you're in Major League Baseball.
right, but you're not. But see, that's different though, because the Angels are terrible. So
Right.
you're not at the top of the food chain there. You're small potatoes.
So do
You're
you
not
think?
even the best. You're not even the best team in the freaking city. You know, I mean, Otani
Right.
doesn't even have to move, and he's
So do you think that
they're
he?
predicted.
Do you
Go ahead.
think if the say the Dodgers offered him, say they just matched like the largest contract in whatever it was. I think Trout still had it, or maybe Tatis had it 470 million or something. Say they just matched like Fernando Tatis, and the Angels offered him the big one. Where do you think he goes then?
I think he goes to a championship team if he wanted to win one so bad.
Well, let's see that, and
But
that's
we'll
the thing.
never know.
That's what he says, But again, you're right. We don't know, and it's easy for us to sit here and
It all,
make assumptions from our desks.
yeah, it all. I mean, it all matters. Like he is the all star, is a pitcher and a batter and can slam home runs. But like, if you're, what am I trying to say here?
I don't know.
He tries. I just lost my train of thought.
Sorry.
You're getting
Hate
old.
that. Yeah, no, don't say that.
40 years old this year. No, I'm just
Who?
kidding. That's my wife.
Oh,
Hey,
I'll be 30. I'll be 35. Half my life's over.
no, you're gonna
Go
live
ahead.
till you're
Somebody else. I'll try to.
95.
What was the last thing you just said?
About whether or not he would take more money and stay,
Yeah.
or take less money to go win a championship. While you're thinking, Junior says, "Look who you're forgetting about, Brian. What about Bryce Harper?" And I'm not a Phillies fan. He was the big talk when he came into the MLB.
He was. Now,
Was.
why did he leave Washington? Why do you think he left Washington, Kyle or Aaron?
Um,
You think he
Money.
left because of money?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I
well,
do too.
yeah. I mean, I do because the real. Well, I think money was obviously the probably the number one factor, but also let's be real. And I've been to Washington, like to games. The environment there is very different than Philadelphia. And so if that was a factor for him, which he said it was, like he wanted to play in a city that would like embrace him, embrace his family, and um
Yeah,
it's more alive, right? It's more, and I'm not saying that as a, because I'm a biased Phillies fan. Like, let's just be real. Phillies fans and you can, some other teams in baseball, right? Fans are different. You go to a Detroit Tigers game, it's going to be a different experience than going to Philadelphia or a Kansas
much
City
so.
Royals game, right? So
Or
and Washington,
Oakland A's game.
yeah, and Washington's kind of one of those. And at the time in Washington, he did have talent. He had Trey Turner there, he had Juan Soto there, he had Max Scherzer, he had Strasburg. They had the team, but Philadelphia had the money, and then Philadelphia also had the fan base and the environment and the place he wanted to play. So joke was kind of on him though because the year he left, Washington wins the World Series the very next year. So um, I mean I don't love that for him, but at the same time it's a little funny.
Still has
Um,
no rings. Let's go.
he will this year. I think Otani will be a disappointment in LA because of expectations. With all the Dodgers' talent, he'll just be another average player this season. Nobody to help him win a championship in DC. See, that's no he. I mean, he had talent when he was there, Junior. He did. That roster was good from top to bottom. I don't remember if Jordan Zimmerman or Ryan Zimmerman, I'm sorry, was still there when he left. But like
Was.
Zimmerman was near the end of his career, but was still playing good. There was a lot of talent on that team. Um, he
Okay.
left when the going was good, and it's not panned out for him yet, but hopefully soon. Fingers crossed. Um, as far as the
Well,
Otani comment there,
I don't. There's no way that Otani's going to be Otani's just he's in a class by himself. I mean, when we look back, like now we look back at the 20s when Ruth was around. That's what they're going to do with Otani. I mean, the dude is just a monster.
the
You know.
only the only way I can see him being a disappointment is, we've seen many times where people come back from Tommy John surgery and they're like better than when they got it, or
Right.
than when they went out, but we've also seen them come back and they're a shell of their former self. So the only way I see him being a disappointment is if he comes back and he just can't pitch. But I don't see him doing both
Long.
for the long term. I think he
A
pitches and
couple
hits
years.
for maybe 3 years, 4 years, because they're going to want to prolong his career, and that's like Bryce Harper moving from right field to first base. He's young enough that he can still go out and play right field, but when you look at his contract and the amount of years he still has left, they want him to be able to play at a high level for as long as he can, as long as they're paying him. So they're going to move him to first base so he doesn't have as much wear and tear on his body. And I think we're going to see him do something similar with Otani, where um, I don't know what he gives up, but I think eventually we'll see him give up one of the two.
When you look at history, I mean, obviously pitchers don't play as long as position players.
Yeah,
And you've got, I mean, it's the same with catchers. They don't stay as catchers. I mean, everybody he goes to first or third base as a
yeah.
catcher.
Joe
So
Mauer.
didn't Reese Hoskins come up as a catcher?
No left. Or I don't know if he came up as a left fielder. I think he was a first base, but he did move to left field for a while.
Okay. So, but you look at it like Johnny Bench. Came up as he's one of the greatest catchers ever. and they
Yeah.
ended up moving him to first base.
Joe
You
Mauer.
know,
Joe Mauer just
yeah,
got inducted in the Hall of
right.
Fame. Same thing.
So,
So
it's a tough thing, but that's what they do. And
yeah,
again, you go back to our original question, you know, you know, Harper, in my mind, Harper's mentality was all about being the big fish in the little pond, in my mind. Even though the money played a part in it, I still think that he wanted to be the man. I mean, that's the reason. I mean, for crying out loud, the dude came out of high school, what, 2 years early?
yeah.
Went to college to play baseball,
Was on
and then
ESPN
and then
cover magazine and
yeah,
yeah,
boy wonder, for crying out loud. I think he's the only or the first high school baseball player to ever be on Sports Illustrated.
yeah,
But I look at it from perspective of saying, why did he do what he did? And you can tell his mentality is, I want to be the man.
yeah.
And then obviously it becomes about the money. But
I think
you know,
though, I think with Bryce, and I know this is gonna look like I'm defending my guy, but I do think his mentality did shift. Um, I think we've seen him like when he first came up, he was a firecracker, right? Like he was I'll never I'll never forget I forget the pitcher, but they were playing the Giants. The Washington Nationals were playing the Giants, and like they hit him and he went out and like charged the mound, and he tried to throw his helmet at the guy, but the helmet slipped out of his hand and he looked like an idiot. Um, but like you saw a lot of that, but he's really like I feel like he's matured, he's grown up, and he's realized like he can't do it without the rest of these guys, and so it's become more about the squad, and he's supporting these younger guys like Bryson Stott, our second baseman. Like he's really mentored him, and I think he has matured and grown as a player. But I do think when he first came into the league, um, it was all about him. And even when he was a national, Cole Hamels, he it was his first at bat in Philadelphia, and Cole he hit him on purpose,
right.
and it ended up biting us in the butt because he stole second, and then a base hit got him to third, and then he stole home. And but they asked Cole after the game. They said, like, "Hey, was that on purpose?" And obviously the correct answer was no, even if it was on purpose. And Cole was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Yeah, I did it on purpose. Welcome to the league, Mr. Harper." And because everybody knew what kind of player he was, and he thought he was bigger than the game of baseball. And Cole's mentality there was like, "Hey, we're gonna knock you down a notch." But then he ended up freaking stealing home. Um, yeah.
It is
So
what it is.
it's interesting, but I don't know if any of us really gave a definitive answer to that question, but a lot of good
Well,
insight to the question.
I think a lot of it just depends on. I think all three of us said the same thing. It depends on your mentality.
Yeah,
I think that goes to each individual person.
yeah,
My mentality is different from your two in that it depends on the situation. It depends on on
Or
a lot of stuff.
yeah.
So it
Like
just
if
yeah,
I'm
depends.
if I'm working on a school project, I want the good grades, so I don't really give a crap, what happens. But if I'm, like I said, if I'm at work and I'm trying to
Right.
make more money and take care of my family, then I don't really care about anybody else at work either. So yeah, interesting.
Interesting. Very interesting.
All right. Well, it's been an hour and 15. I was worried that conversation wasn't going to last us nearly long enough, and
We went
boy oh
down a lot of
boy did
rabbit
it.
holes. Though.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we went this way and this way and
Down a
this way.
lot of rabbit holes.
But all right. Well, I think that's it for us tonight. Everybody in the chat, thank you guys for coming and hanging out. Junior specifically, thanks for keeping the chat alive. We appreciate you, man. Grammy for
oh,
being here. Everybody else says we got 4, so I'm not sure who they are. But next week, next Thursday, 8 o'clock, I believe Jared will be here. Probably still no Nick. So probably a combination of Jared, Stu, Brian, and or Kyle. Maybe 4 of us. Who knows? Who knows? We'll surprise you. Jury's out. But thank you guys for coming. We appreciate you guys very much. And we will see you next week.
Later.
yeah.
Later. I didn't have the video ready again.